So you do. All right, it's 6 p.m. and we will call this meeting to order. If we can get a roll call.
Derek Jones.
Here.
Katie Kornman.
Here.
Stephen Cox here. Greg Duffy.
Here.
Lane Jones.
Here. All right, at this time, Katie will lead us in the flag salute and the prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If y'all would join me in prayer tonight. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for bringing us all together again for another board meeting. We're just thankful to be here representing our students. God, we're thankful for all these teachers here tonight that are retiring and those that couldn't be here with us. We're thankful for their many years of service to our district and our students. And God, I just pray you bless them in their future endeavors and let them have just a fantastic retirement here. I also want to pray for our seniors as they enjoy this last month and all the festivities and excitement that comes with graduating. God, keep them safe and just keep all our students safe as we go towards the end of the school year and look towards the future. God, and I just pray for all the staff members that we're voting on tonight and that we're looking to bring to the district, God, that you just provide us with who we need to meet our students' needs. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, moving on to item 2, special recognition. So at this time, turn it over to Ms. Campbell to recognize our district retirees.
We are so excited to recognize our retirees. We're a little sad because we sure have enjoyed the years that they've given us. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bodell first and let him say a few words about his teachers tonight.
All right. So I get the privilege and honor to talk about Sue McLemore and Shelley Nutter. And so we'll start with Sue. She has served Piedmont for the last 7 years, but she's got over 30 years of experience in public education. And so we're losing a positive voice in our building. Every time you walk past her, you know, she's smiling, she's taking care of kids. She truly epitomizes what we expect from our teachers, and we're very sad to be losing her in our 4th grade team. We also have Miss Shelley Nutter. She has been here in Piedmont for 17 years, and that's a lot of experience to leave our building. So between the two of them, we're losing over 50 years of teaching experience. And so one of the things that they both brought to Stone Ridge is the love for doing fun activities and fun things for the kids that are memorable, from our 50 Nifty projects that they do to making sure that our assemblies or Wildcat Wake-Ups are done in a patriotic way, but also just focusing on our student achievement. One thing that as soon as I got here, Shelley was very adamant that we make sure we do the national anthem during our Wildcat Wake-Ups. We did the pledge, we did the Oklahoma salute, but we had to do the national anthem, and so we were very happy to be able to do that. And one of the people that sang our national anthem during our 3rd and 4th grade wake-ups was Miss McLemore. And so both of them bring something to our school that is going to be hard and very difficult to replace. But we are super happy to have them, and we're excited for them in their next chapter. And I've already told Shelley that we are going to have her come back and substitute for us when we have opportunities. So I know that they're both leaving education right now to pursue their family and to spend more time with their family. But I don't think their heart is over with educating our kids. So let's give Shelley and Sue a round of applause.
And I'm at Piedmont Elementary, and I have the one and only Mrs. Judy Wilkerson here. You have to wait for us. Judy. Come on, Judy, you can do it. We're always giving Judy a hard time. We do not want want Judy to retire, but apparently she's promised to get to travel a lot, right? Okay, that's her husband, but we're gonna hold him to it. But she is so phenomenal because she is the veteran of our first grade that we can go to and ask questions and everything. And so Judy has been in education over 33 years. 7 of those years have been here in Piedmont, and like I said, we definitely don't want her to retire, but we are happy for you. And we've already promised that she'll come back next year, so I'm gonna help us out for sure. But she is a great asset. Yes. Oh, her husband's laughing. He doesn't believe that. Yes, we've already got some times that she can come back and dress up for us and read to the students and everything, because she is definitely one of those teachers that we're really going to miss. It's going to be a big hole to fill, but she is fantastic, and we do love her. And so we can't wait for your next adventures. And you're going to take us with you on vacation, right? Thank you.
I think that mic is off too. Turn it back on.
Can you hear me? For you, those that don't know me, I'm Michonne Buckner. I'm an assistant principal at the high school, and I get the privilege to speak about Miss Frances Williams. She is our art teacher, and we are just so excited for her and just the teensy bit jealous as well, but really excited to see what else she will continue to do. She has taught art for 24 years here in Piedmont. In that time, she has developed a program that serves some truly spectacular students. Her love of teaching art can be seen throughout our halls. She creatively displays her student work very proudly. Whether it is working with the least skilled or most gifted, her legacy at Piedmont has been sculpted and crafted for more than 2 decades, and it resonates with patience, love, creativity, and inspiration. But this is not where the scope of her influence wanes. She actively contributes her gifts to the Piedmont community and the greater Oklahoma City metro area art society. In this, she has nurtured lifelong learners by taking students to contests and exhibitions, challenging them to see the limitless potential and enduring spirit of their artistic capabilities. We thank you so much for all that you have done for Piedmont High School and Piedmont as a community. It's been a pleasure.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Carver, principal at Piedmont ECC. It is a great honor tonight to stand and talk about Denise Woodson. Denise, would you stand for a moment? Denise has 28 years of hard work and dedication to education. 17 of those have been here in Piedmont. The past 4, I can proudly say, has been loving children in room 507. She is an amazing teacher. If you could pick the perfect kindergarten teacher, you would pick Miss Woodson. She loves her children. She has some of the most difficult children in our building, and just within the days, she is in love with them and passionate about teaching them. She has been the teacher of the year for 4 years, which is amazing. Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment. She is a lifelong learner. Even the last 2 years of her career, she is studying and she is learning. She is reading, learning the science of reading, just so she can leave the everlasting effects on children. You will not meet a better teacher. This is what she's meant to be. She is a natural teacher. And so we are so proud to recognize her this year. We are blessed at the ECC because she will be returning with us next year, and her impact on the Piedmont community will last for many, many years to come. So thank you, Mrs. Woodson, for all that you've done, your dedication to education. We wish you well on your next journey.
And on behalf of the board, we want to thank you for your service. That's a tremendous accomplishment. it's funny when you look back and think, when you first start teaching, coaching, whatever it is you're doing, when you walk in the door that first day, you can probably remember it very well. And retirement is it's something you really don't even think about, and let alone plan for, and then it's here. And watching the state of education, the way that it's valued in our state, and trying to get people to come in and fill your shoes is one of the most difficult things that we're facing right now. And so having quality people leave our district and is going to be really, it's difficult to deal with. So just know that your value, there's no number on it. You've touched thousands of lives, and we are very appreciative of that. So thank you very much. And at this time, we want to get some pictures and some refreshments. So thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Can we get a picture of the retirees with the board real quick? Just right up here.
So you're Amanda Zink?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we'll need a squish in. Perfect, thank you. And now if everybody wants to
policy BEDR, members of the public shall be allowed to attend all meetings of the Board of Education. In addition, the Board of Education will have an item on every regular board meeting agenda that affords citizens the right to speak. Any individual wishing to address the board shall sign in with the board member's clerk prior to the start of the meeting. The president of the board will then acknowledge only those individuals whose names are listed to address the board. The board will set a maximum time of 21 minutes at each regular meeting for public comment. Those wishing to speak will be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they signed in with the board minutes clerk. The president of the board may extend the time limits if necessary. First off, we have Terry Herndon.
Ready?
Absolutely.
Over there or right here?
Yes, please, right there. And I've got a timer on this.
I got one too.
Okay. And when you hear the buzzer, if you will.
Cut me off last time, so I want to make sure I get it all in.
Okay. Yeah, 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Is this thing on?
Yes.
All right, so I run the Piedmont basketball program, and for the last year, we were in Surrey Hills Elementary, and they've invited us back, just so you all know. But we impact last year 201 kids, and our cost over there was $10,050 for that's our sign-up fees. Our cost is $35 an hour for the gym rental per hour, so we get 2 teams of practice at a time, which is $4,000. And then our games is $5,300, which is about $10,000. So we break even at $35. We want to get back in Piedmont schools to do our stuff, but we've got to be at that same number. We have to raise our price per kid entry fee, and everybody's paying more, and we don't want to. We want to try not to do that. So if we can stay at that same number, if you guys have a tiered structure program or whatever it is, we want to try to stay at that same number. The previous year we had 180 kids, so we've grown 10%, and that's pretty good growth. And the year before that, we were at this Robertson Center, and there was no seating there, and their costs were more than that, so we actually lost money on that deal. So we had to find somewhere else to go. We came here to the school board, to this building here, and I was told no, we couldn't have it last year because we didn't follow the process. I talked with Derek, and he told me the process, and that's what I'm doing now. I have to have an answer by August 1st, which means there's two more meetings. If you have one in June and one in July, I need to know by that meeting if you're going to let us in or not, because we have to make a commitment by August 1st for our gym rental space where we're going to be at, whether it be here or there. They've invited us back. So that's all I have. I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention on my deadline.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, next is Jason Thomas. And I'll start the timer whenever you begin.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead. OCO, my name is Jason Thomas. I had at one time 6 children in your school district. I have so many children because my wife and I have 2 biological and 4 adopted from the Cherokee foster system. In order to adopt, we had to listen to several days of testimonial and historical information so we could properly understand the context of the way the Cherokee children culture should be protected before we adopted. I had a healthy respect for the administrator communicating to me this information, and their respect for me and my wife as volunteers was mutual. I believe Cherokee method of learning is a wise way to learn. In Piedmont, we seem to have to use a totally different method. We argue with each other and get extremely offended by the opposing opinions. We use 3-minute rules and laws that silence opinions. We take advice from outsiders like the OSSBA and lawyers. Because of the lack of communication, we think the worst of our neighbors and our elected officials. I'm simply asking that our leadership would truly listen and respect our neighbors, elected officials, teachers, and parents in the same way as they were on the campaign trail. However, I do appreciate the leadership of all those who were at the baseball game last week as we took 4th consecutive regional championship. Okay, Mrs. Pruitt, Mrs. Harriger, Mr. Billiou, and a handful of others were there, and it was full of love and unity. I wish the board could have seen this humanity on display as tears of these dads and moms in the eyes of 2 sets of brothers played on the same field for the last time in their lives as proud Piedmont Wildcats. This community is not full of complainers, as you may believe. We have passion, which is a mixture of anger and love. It's true. It's a noble attribute. Now listen, if the OSSBA is not looking for a superintendent with passion for communication with the public, then I recommend you terminate the contract. Your elected representatives, Denise Crosswhite Hayter and Senator Kristen Thompson, have suggested you talk to them about this subject. Please talk to them privately, as I have, and learn about the dark money flowing into the OSSBA. I can tell you, they are eagerly awaiting your phone call or email. They're eagerly waiting, just waiting for it, okay? For some of you on the board, I've been your neighbor. My daughter's been your employee in your businesses as Employee of the Month. My black son was here and bear hugged by a lot of the administrators as he walked down the hall. He told me this. Dad, they love me. They bear hug me, you know, and that's great. I love that. I prayed to God with some of you in church every Sunday, but for the life of me, I don't understand why you would not discuss this issue with me in any of those places before you made the most important decision in the school's history. But what's done is done, and I guess it can't be contracts, laws, legal things have already been done, but that seat's going to be filled by somebody worse communicator than we had. And for you teachers, that's a real bad deal. I hope that your voice can be heard. I hope that a parent's voice can be heard in this place. So, hey, if anybody wants to come by the garden, I have the Patriot Victory Garden. Come by and talk to me. I don't use cuss words. I'm a Christian man. We'll talk. I'll make you a cup of coffee, and we'll have a sit down as neighbors. So appreciate your time.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 4, board reports. If I can find them. All right, anybody have any discussion? Board reports, Ms. Campbell?
You can see the updates that we've had some big grants come in here recently that were exceptional for our students. A huge grant at the high school with our band program that purchased about $9,000 worth of jazz instruments. Our jazz group was very successful at the recent contest, so that was good. We've done some continuing education seminars for our employees. So we have several, especially support staff, that want to continue their education and get their bachelor's degrees. And so we invited some colleges to come and help them get started. They did everything from financial aid to determining what they needed from their transcripts. Mr. Blankenship, do you want to give an update on construction?
Sure. Pretty much everything that I put in the board report will start this summer. And one thing that I just want to bring to your attention is we have it scheduled already, but it's moving the 2 portables, or actually 4 portable classrooms or 2 buildings there at the middle school. And we have there's a lot happening between the day school's out until school starts. And we're actually going to have 2 foremen on site so that we can get that road, the fire road that goes back behind there. But underneath that road is water lines, fire lines, and so it's imperative that we move those 2 portables. We start moving, it takes about 4 days to move them, and so that we don't hold up the process. And so I just want to make sure that we're aware of that, because at our last meeting on Wednesday, I asked the architect and our contractors, and if that was not approved to move those portables, it would put us back a year. And so I just want to make sure that we all understand that if we get that approval, get those moved immediately, and it will not slow us up on the project.
Mr. Lee, do you want to address athletics?
Yes, I can. We've got a busy week coming up, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. State baseball, we've got JUCO regional tournament we're hosting, we've got state tennis. We're hosting the women's soccer semifinal this Tuesday versus Coweta, so we're excited about that. Got a band concert this Thursday at the Wildcat Athletic Center, so a lot of exciting things. Special Olympics is next weekend, so we're excited about what's going on at Piedmont High School.
And then just to round that out, you'll see in your board report just updates on state testing and what our school sites did to help motivate students and encourage them in a positive way that did not lead to additional anxiety. That's tough for kids to take those tests, and so the principals and their staff really made a big effort to do some fun things to prep for that.
Any questions on the board reports?
I know you said on the the portables at the middle school, Is there anything coming down for portables at Stone Ridge?
No, not at this time, other than, the two that are there, or the two classrooms that are there is, I met with Mr. Bodell last week, and we looked at, replacing the tile on the flooring, a few things, just cosmetic, but a new decking there on the front, but that's all we have in place at this time.
Okay.
Ms. Campbell, on the Intergage survey, it closed on the 30th, and so our logins right now, we can see like the preliminary information. Is that correct? Okay.
You can log in and see the preliminary results, and then we'll do a presentation for you at the next board meeting on the highlights.
Okay, perfect. I think it's important for staff to know, we do look at those, and we value that input for sure.
Can you possibly send that link again to us?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on board reports? Greg? Nope. Katie? Stephen?
On the portable buildings, you said that get approved, is any process we have to do with the city to get?
There's an encumbrance in there, it's $20,000.
Okay.
$20,000 to move those two, and I just want to make sure that.
That's on there tonight?
Does the city require any permitting or?
Normally, since we're not moving it, we're moving it just.
On the same site?
Just on the same campus, so it won't technically, if we were moving it to the intermediate or something, we would have to use.
Okay.
Permitting, but
Anything else? Okay, if not, we'll move on to item 5, executive session. Part A, vote to convene or not to convene into executive session pursuant to 25 OS 307B1 for the purpose of discussing employment as listed on attachment A.
Make a motion, we convene in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Greg, got a second by Stephen. Can we get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Lane?
Yes. All right, the time is 6:39, and we'll go into executive session. All right, the board is returned to open session at 7:06 PM. The board entered into executive session at 6:39 PM pursuant to 25 OS 307B1 to discuss employment as listed on attachment A. Those present in executive session were Derek Jones, Katie Kornman, Stephen Cox, Greg Duffy, and Lane Jones. Lisa Campbell was also present for a portion of the session. No action was taken by the board. So moving on to item 6, action items. Discuss and take possible action on employment as listed on attachment A. And for a motion for attachment A. I'll make a motion we approve employment as listed on attachment A.
I second.
Motion by Lane, second by Derek. Can we get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, moving on to item B, discuss and take possible action on interim superintendent. And just to follow up on the conversation we last had about some options for interim superintendent, looking at the search process for the OSSBA and in our involvement in starting to gather applicants. One of the things, and I think that both groups articulated this very well, there sounds like there's a good chance that we could have a possibility of looking at some quality applicants by June 30th. And if that's not the case, then if we're not comfortable with that person, we do have the opportunity to extend that process even further. So I think in looking at that, one of the options that we should take a look at is looking at an interim superintendent, either until we have a superintendent hired, if we have one hired before June 30th, or have an interim superintendent serve until June 30th to end that fiscal year. And so one of the things in thinking about this, I made some notes. They're more than notes, it's several paragraphs I'd like to just share so I don't have to go off the top of my head here, and I'd like to just share this with you. We're at a very important crossroads for our school district. Piedmont is a community that has seen an incredible amount of growth over the past 20 years. I was offered a job as high school principal almost 10 years ago to the day. And at the time, Piedmont was playing 4A football, baseball, softball, and had just moved into 5A basketball and track. Marching band was still 4A, and they made the jump into to 5A shortly after that. Today, Piedmont is exiting 5A and entering 6A, having blown through the second biggest classification of schools in Oklahoma in almost unparalleled fashion. Because of our community and our schools, people have moved to Piedmont in droves. We're a destination for families who want what our schools and our community have to offer. We attract the best teachers around during a time when the pool of qualified teachers is the lowest it's been in my lifetime. Personally, we love Piedmont because I know my kids are cared for by teachers in their classroom. I personally saw firsthand the extra mile that teachers and staff will go to help our kids. Is this place perfect? No. No place is perfect. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. Are people going to make mistakes? Definitely. I understand that, and as a parent, we need to make sure that we remember that. Professionally, Piedmont was a good place for me to work because of the teachers, coaches, support staff, and quite frankly, because we have really, really good kids. I've often joked that our kids and staff succeeded even though we, as administrators, unnecessarily got in the way. Imagine how much more successful they could have been if we would have let them operate under the pressure of succeeding rather than the fear of failing. Which really takes me to the important task at hand, leadership for our district. Leadership is the single most important factor that this district is going to have to face in the coming months, and our kids are going to be directly affected by this. Leadership is really about guiding people to the right choices and celebrating those choices when it is appropriate. Todd Whitaker is a professional educator who's written numerous books on educational leadership, and he tours the country speaking in front of thousands of teachers every year. One of his premises is that mistakes can be classified into two categories: ignorance and insubordination. Good leaders address both, but treat each with a different approach. Ignorance means someone didn't know. Our job as a leader is to show them how to do it the right way so they won't mess up again. Insubordination requires a completely different approach. Todd Whitaker also believes that about 99% of people, regardless of career, want to please others and they want to do the right thing. Therefore, he maintains that people want and are trying to get things right. One of the most single important parts of leading people is the ability to identify this and to genuinely relay that gratitude to those being led is felt. I know that sounds simplified, sounds idealistic, and sounds too easy, but it really is just a mindset that can ultimately impact over 5,000 students and staff. And that impact is exponential. And that's significant, and that's why this decision is important. And personally, I won't and I shouldn't separate my professional experience in Piedmont from my role as a board member. From a professional standpoint, Piedmont is a great place to work. As I said earlier, it's not perfect and there are issues, but there are issues everywhere. My perspective of this district is from the lens of a former employee and a board member, is that it's time to take the next step that will best allow our staff to do what they were hired to do. And that's be professional educators, coaches, mentors, and let them do their job. In my opinion, the Todd Whitaker approach to leadership has not been practiced and actually is sometimes discouraged. But this isn't about armchair quarterbacking. This is about making sure that moving forward, that we keep that in mind to celebrate our good people. And for me, it is allowing, enabling, supporting, and promoting a mindset that allows our directors and building principals to foster an environment where students and staff are not afraid of failure, but rather welcome failure to achieve success. I worked with Lisa Campbell for 7 years and believe that she leads in a manner that promotes growth among her subordinates. This isn't an endorsement for Lisa as our future superintendent at this moment, but it is my personal and professional belief that she is capable of filling the current leadership void that we have to get us through this transition. In the next couple of weeks, we will have the opportunity to interview superintendents, and in the meantime, fill a leadership void that we have, and I would strongly urge us to consider Ms. Campbell as the interim superintendent at this time. We can open up the floor to discussion.
Interim will be just through June 30th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and this will help us open or pass POs, get portables, make all those decisions.
Correct.
Okay.
Comments and discussion?
I think that was well said.
Greg?
No.
Katie?
Did we talk to her about it?
Yes.
She's okay with it?
I believe so. She's right there. We can ask her.
You okay with that?
Stephen?
Are we not even gonna discuss the fact that the people that we've chosen to do our superintendent search mentioned using a external retired superintendent that they used through the Barlow or whatever?
I believe that was from July 1st to the end of the school year is what they recommended. If I remember. Could be wrong, but I think that's what they said.
That's
That's what they
Yeah,
said.
from July 1st until the end of the school year, or until the end of the calendar year.
Just my thought on just that one piece is that, yeah, just to close out the year, it would be, I think, better to have somebody already here who knows, you know, how it operates, and then have a longer term plan
And
that's.
so but then if we don't have somebody picked by July 1st, then we
We can go out
hire
and get
somebody
Barlow.
else to switch it up again.
I think in light of the fact that we will be looking at hiring a superintendent on a full-time basis, maybe as early as the end of June, that we not make decisions that don't come to the board on things that may affect the ability of a new superintendent who comes in to put people in place that he would like to see, or he or she would like to see, working with them. because that does seem to be the case when there's a change in leadership. If we just wholesale start filling positions, helter-skelter, he's gonna come into a situation, or she, the new superintendent, with that much latitude.
And I think we have the ability to have that check and balance with the employment attachment as well.
Yes.
So I don't disagree with what you're saying one bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess using kind of the coach analogy, you know, when your head coach comes in, they're wanting to bring their coordinators.
Right.
Right.
And their staff with them. So I mean, I think we do hold the check and the balance on that as well.
Right.
So.
But we need somebody in place for the POs, for the district, just to keep moving smoothly instead of staying stagnant. And I don't know how long it would take to get an outsider in to fill that interim soup.
Yeah, we're talking a couple of weeks.
Right.
I mean, really in that process.
Right. And we're talking at this for a month and a half.
Month and a half.
Mhm.
Do we have purchase orders that aren't being completed, filled?
Well, I think it's for just more than purchase orders. I mean, I think that's a question to ask our directors that are here.
Our purchase orders have been created.
I was gonna say, last discussion we had, which I think was last month, there wasn't anything that was gonna stop if we didn't, you know, fill the interim. But there's also probably some lack of, you know, decision-making ability.
I'll make a motion that we name Lisa Campbell interim soup until June 30th, 2023.
Motion by Derek. I will second. Motion by Derek, second by Lane. Can we get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Stephen? Yes. Greg?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, moving on to item 7, consent agenda. Discuss and then vote to approve all consent items. These items may be approved by one board motion unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items.
Don't necessarily want a separate vote, but just a couple of questions on the budget floor store. Is this from the flooding over at the high school last year?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Huh?
I didn't hear you.
Budget floor store, $16,000 for new rubber flooring due to water damage.
Yeah, so learning center here, this room right here, so that 16,000 will be reimbursed. This is returning that claim.
So 16,000 is our part after insurance, or?
Now, we'll pay for it up front, and then we'll turn in that invoice, if you will, and they'll reimburse us on that amount. And that's from the flood, the water damage over Christmas break. We also have some, she's not in here, but Ms. Skokowski, are at Piedmont Elementary. Yes.
And who's gonna pay for it? You said reimburse it. Who is gonna reimburse us?
Our insurance company.
Insurance reimbursement?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we had some work to do at Piedmont Elementary as well, but none of that can start until school's out.
Is this part of, I guess this is different and apart from the contract we entered with Coriel?
Yeah,
That,
so Coriel's roofing.
is that still
roofing-
going, it's just roofing only?
Roofing only,
Yeah.
and we had pipes burst over winter break, and like, for instance, at Piedmont Elementary, we had about 5 classrooms that were flooded, so all of our teachers on the last day of school put all their furniture in the middle of the room. They'll take everything off the walls. Maybe they're repainting all of those rooms, taking out all the flooring, and they'll get new flooring and all that. We didn't want to interrupt, classes, and our insurance company said,
Correll still on the job, I guess?
Yep, we're still on the job.
Okay.
We do get updates from them. We're told that they're real close to reaching settlement on that.
Right.
But there is a $25,000 fee that, or I'm trying to think, we paid that to
Yeah.
our insurance company for this,
Right.
this damage. So now it's just getting,
Right.
they're having this project. We just can't do anything during school year because it interrupted the class.
Right. Then I guess my other question, summer hours that are proposed, is this similar to past years, or are they the same?
Those are the same as last year.
Okay.
And all of the surrounding districts are, close their offices on Fridays, so it's in line with what others are doing.
And work 36-hour work weeks instead of 40-hour?
I mean, that is how it evens out, but these are the same people that stay late for buses and take all those phone calls before work really starts, and, so I feel like it evens out over time, and they're also quick to answer the phone when we need something at home, and we've got a student lost or whatever.
It's all mine.
What was the other company besides Power School that we looked at several years ago?
We've looked at a couple, we looked at Wingate and.
Wingate.
What's the other one called? Sean, do you remember? Yeah. I'm completely blank on it.
Wingate is the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, you know, Power School has bought a lot of different companies, so one of the positives to it is it syncs to a lot of the other software applications and things that our students use, and, all of those things. And when we've looked at those other companies, we've had our registrars who use it on a daily basis come in and watch those presentations, and so far, they have always wanted to stay with Power School, felt like it was more user-friendly and had the reporting capabilities they needed, so.
Great. Any other questions?
I have just a contract question on evaluation works. Like, is there any kind of like guaranteed capacity that we kind of talk about with them before we choose like how many students they can test and, you know, like their availability for the schools? Do we have numbers for that we, I guess, have made sure that who we're signing contracts with can meet our needs is essentially what I'm asking. Okay.
So what happens is most of the time, our psychometrists and psychologists do all of our testing. On occasion, we need an outside entity, and so that's when we go with a contracted company. Parents can request that the testing be done by an outside company, and there are times that we have a student who's significant enough that we feel like our own people trying to test the student, we're not getting valid data, and so we can elect to do an outside company.
Okay, but it's not like regularly the means of.
Correct,
Okay.
that is not our typical.
Okay.
What other questions? Greg?
Nope.
Kate?
I have just kind of a comment, because I didn't catch this on here, or I would have brought it up ahead of time. But not that I have any necessary complaints about like the OSSBA membership renewal, but I think it's a valid question, or, you know, something to look at because I think OSSBA talks about having like 100% membership for the districts in Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure the last time they said everybody was a member. So, you know, the other entity that came and presented, and I'm sorry, it's slipping my brain, right, for this comment. But they also have 240 districts, so it seems to me like there's a growth in having multiple memberships and multiple organizational opportunities for the board to go get their classes in continuing education and look at options. And I at least would like to maybe not necessarily change anything on this agenda, but I think it's a valid thing to look at if there's a reason, 240 districts might have a joint membership or not, if that's something that we should look at, if we see benefit in having an option.
And I'm assuming, in summer, you may know this, do both continuing credits for board members, are they recognized in the for the legal requirements for?
Yes, there are
Okay.
multiple agencies that you can go and
Yeah.
and they'll still report back.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's supposed to just be service for
Yes, so
us,
they don't
right?
automatically report to OSSBA, then we can turn it in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I just think now that I didn't know there was options before until the superintendent search came up. And so I think it's at least important to not just make those decisions without looking at options too. Not that we pick one over the other, but that we look at the cost of, what they all have to offer and if it makes sense to have joint membership or just, if we want to start to annually review where we best have our membership. It's more of a comment than anything, but
Okay.
it may be something that I bring up for a future agenda.
Fair enough. What else? Anything else?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through R.
Got a motion by Greg,
Second. Second.
second by Stephen. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes,
Lane.
Yes. All right, item 8, new business, discussion and possible action regarding new business. This business, in accordance with 25 OS Section 311A9, is limited to any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting this agenda. Anything? No new business? All right, so moving on to item 9, adjournment.
move for adjournment.
All right, got a motion by Greg,
I'll second it.
second by Katie. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes. Time is 7:29.